Hi, I'm Bob Childs. I've been a violin maker for 35 years now. Whenever I start a new instrument, I'm often reminded of the children's story, The Voice of the Violin by Claude Clement. In that story, he tells of a violin maker who crafts his instruments looking out upon a beautiful tree outside his window. His quest is to match the beauty of the sound of the birds that sing in that tree. Eventually, the tree dies and he crafts an instrument out of wood from the tree. The instrument is magical, unsurpassed in its beauty. Consistency in the sound of the instruments is the hallmark of a mature violin maker. Over the years, I've been thinking, what would it be like to have a whole family of instruments made by the same violin maker played together? I believe that question is answered by our group Child's Play. The joyful sound of Child's Play lies not only in the skill of the many musicians in the group, but also in the familial timbre of the instruments that they play, a quality similar to the vocal blending of a family that sings together. Child's Play is about community, one joyful voice, united by the sum of its parts. The special skills of these individuals is fundamental to the sound of Child's Play. Over the years, I've received many cherished and unexpected gifts from the friendships of the many musicians who have walked into my shop here. I've asked several of them to help us inspire the next generation of fiddlers by teaching a lesson that was inspirational to them as a young developing musician. Here's my friend Hanneke Cassel, a national Scottish fiddle champion, an inspired teacher to many young fiddlers in the Boston area, and a wonderful performer in her own right.
Hi, my name is Hanneke Cassel and I am a member of Child's Play. I play Scottish and Cape Breton music in the band. And I'm going to talk a little bit today about the difference between a Strathspey, which would be played for Scottish country dance music, and a Strathspey that would be played for Cape Breton music. I'm going to go through some of the ornamentation, and then I'm actually going to talk about how I am influenced in the tunes that I wrote myself by this style of music and this style of ornamentation. So we'll take a look first at two different Strathspeys in the Scottish tradition, the Iron Man and Devil in the Kitchen. So, those were two different Strathspeys. The first one was called Iron Man. It's from Scotland. The second tune was the Cape Breton version of Devil in the Kitchen. So the first tune I would play for a Scottish country dance. You can hear that it's a little bit more posh sounding. There's a little bit more vibrato in it. When I'm playing that first tune, I do these things called scrunches, where I'll play the note below an open string at the same time as an open string, at the same time as the open string. It sounds like this. So you get this kind of bagpipe feel for the tune. You're actually bringing the bow down in such a short way that you're almost playing both strings at once. In this tune, I'll actually have this very swelling, kind of pulsing effect. Instead of... I like to describe the effect that the bow is doing as rather than kind of hitting across ice with a set of ice skates, you're actually sinking into like quicksand with flip-flops on or something, so that your bow is actually and you actually hear that there's a lot of dynamics too in this type of tune. So why don't I just break this tune down so you can actually see where I'm putting in some of these grace notes. Maybe it sounds very American to you right now, but I'll show you the Scottish influence. Right at the beginning, you're doing some flicks, and then a scrunch right up here. So you have another flick, and another scrunch. So you're getting this instead of kind of a so it's a really different stylistic thing than if I were playing this not in a Scottish style. So right there you have a very pulsing flick. And right there, I'm doing this kind of high little note. To make it a little bit more percussive, I'm adding a wiggle. I'm just going back from the first finger to the open E. You can hardly even tell it's happening during the tune. You can hear the difference if I didn't do it. It's very clean. But you want it to have that dubba. That was a terrible singing job. You want it to have that little spark. And then here's some nice big wiggles. So again, here's the second part. And there's your big cut right in the second part. And also your double E that we talked about in the Devil in the Kitchen. And also your wiggle. So right in that little phrase there, you have the cut, the double E, and the wiggle.